Welcome to Channel 97 News. I'm Martin ROUNDSTONE.
And I'm Mike FIRKINS.
In this week's lineup for news, we have a favorite teacher and coach leaving, and also our weekly school board candidate interview.
In sports, we have track facing difficulty in senior numbers.
And it features FBLA volunteer work and a special What Would You Do?
Lots of stuff going on in our school.
Sure thing.
One of our teachers will soon be leaving us as he prepares for his new assistant principal job in Wisconsin Dells. For the story, we go to Kyle Oates.
History teacher Jason Janke has been a part of the Black Falls High School since fall of 1995. Sophomore Tony Johnson and freshman Jackie Lynn enjoyed having Mr. Janke for a teacher.
Probably his leadership in the school. It kind of makes you want to be a better person.
I have seen Mr. Janke before in middle school, which the first time I saw him, I thought he was like a really respectful person. He stood up, he would talk to people eye to eye. He will have conversations with them. And then in football, I saw him. He's playing with everybody. I respect him as a coach and as a teacher. As a person, I respect him.
Like many, Johnson had a connection with Mr. Janke.
I don't know. Well, when he was my coach in 8th grade basketball, he was my coach. And
there can be lots of reasons to miss Mr. Janke, but here's what Lynn had to say.
Him being at the school, because I like to see him and then strike up a little conversation, but now he's going to be gone.
Throughout his career, Janke has had many careers during his experience here at Black River Falls.
Well, I began by teaching economics. I was one of the first people to be teaching economics as a required course, some politics and some history, and then I progressed into U.S. history primarily for quite a while, and most recently have gotten back to politics along with U.S. history, and this year we introduced the introduction to sociology for the first time, and that's what I'm on to.
Being a part of Black River Falls for a long time, Janke has been dedicated to lots of things.
Oh, I'm going to miss everything. There's not going to be a single thing I don't miss. The people would be the number one thing. The people would be the biggest thing. Students, colleagues, friends. My best friends in the world are here. I think we have the best teachers. I think we've got an unbelievably great community, and we'll miss everything. There's not a single thing that we won't miss.
Moving from a place that you've been so involved with, it's tough to move somewhere else.
Well, I expect to see, as far as school dynamics, it's going to be pretty similar. The population is really similar in numbers and diversity, and the community is a little bit different. Of course, Wisconsin Dells being kind of where we all go to the water parks. Of course, once that ends, it's a regular community, a lot like ours. And I don't know if my expectations are much different from what we see at Black River Falls, and I guess I'm going to see. I'm going to be in a different role, so I suppose the perspective I have will be different, and who knows where it leads.
Being a teacher at Black River Falls High School for 16 years, Janke is changing to become a vice principal instead of a history teacher.
Well, I'm happy for Mr. Janke, but I'm really sad he'll be leaving.
Yep, I'm sure we'll all miss him. He knows his stuff, both in the classroom and on the field.
Now we go over to Sam Britt for sports.
Senior guy track numbers are lower than usual this year. I had the chance to talk with track members and Coach Moretti on how they will address this problem.
The BRFHS track team will be facing the challenge of having a low number of senior guys this year. The shortage of seniors has been a constant problem throughout the years, but the track team always tries to fight through. Although the lack of seniors, boys coach SHAWN Moretti expects juniors and even underclassmen to step up and strive for team excellence.
Well, we've had this problem in the past, and usually, it doesn't actually end up being a problem. It's more or less just, how are we going to fill in those leadership gaps. And, most of the time we have, juniors that step up to the plate that become leaders, and they learn that, hey, this is our team. And the freshmen, eventually when they learn their place in the team, they start to lead a little bit too. So, it's not a bad problem to have a lack of seniors, but you obviously would like a core group of seniors who would be there because they've been through it all and stuff like that. But I think it's something where the sophomores and juniors start to step up because they know that this is something that's actually to their advantage, where they can make them better.
Track runners aren't worried though, and are confident experience will help them lead this year.
It's not all about being a senior, it's just having the experience.
Team success is always a guessing game this early in the season, but Moretti's optimistic about the upcoming season.
The boys, we're going to be in the mix. Our goal usually is to try to place in the top 3, but individually, each kid, we try to improve from what they did last year. It's hard to say going in, before we had any meets, kind of where we're at, but we expect to get better every meet, and by the end of the year, if it places us top 3 at conference, we're pleased with that.
Although the boys' basketball season is over, there are some special memories made for a couple of BRF students who helped out throughout the season. For the story, we go to Michael FIRKINS.
If you had the chance to catch a Tigers boys basketball game this year, you probably saw a couple of helpful students sitting on the end of the bench. Meet Derek BENEDICT and Ben ISHAM, 2 kids that contributed a lot to the boys' team using their positive attitude and encouraging support. I was able to talk to Ben and ask him how this opportunity came about.
Me and Mr. Guy were talking about it, and I wasn't being good on the freshman team. So him and the coach talked and decided to make me a higher, to give me a higher position in basketball. So I became the team manager, and that's how I got to go to practice with them.
I asked Ben what his duties were as team manager of the boys basketball team.
I was to videotape the games, to get balls out during halftime and beginning of the game, take up water bottles, and then during practice I had a pad to block them from making shots.
I also talked to Derek BENEDICT about his involvement with the team.
I had a fun time.
Derek was also a good motivator for the team.
Was funny just staying downstairs and trying to warm the team up.
I got a chance to speak with Coach Geyer about Derek and Ben's role with helping the team.
Well, Derek he always gets along with those guys, and he always says he's bored after school, and wanted something to do, and so we developed a position for him, and we called him the head warm-up coach. He helped us out with warm-ups, and we broke down over him, and he gave a little motivational speech before every home game. And Ben actually tried out for the team, actually went out for the freshman team to begin with, and wasn't getting as much playing time as he wanted, so we said, hey, why don't you come up and be the varsity manager and hang out with the big guys, and he really took that role and excelled in it.
I wondered what Derek and Ben would take away from this whole experience.
I think they made some friends this year that they wouldn't have without basketball, along with every other kid too. And also the socialization piece of when to be appropriate, when you can goof around, stuff like that. When it's not just the school setting, it teaches them in an informal setting when to be appropriate, when kids want to be picked on and when kids don't want to be picked on. And so the social aspect of it was huge.
Although these 2 students aren't on the court taking jump shots or driving to the lane, these boys have had a big impact on our basketball team. A big thanks goes to Derek and Ben for helping out this season.
With the winter sports into playoff mode, the girls' basketball team extended their run with a 35-25 victory over Prescott in their first round. And next week, we'll have the results of the next game against La Crosse Aquinas.
Well, Sam, I hope those Lady Tigers can pull off another victory.
I hope so. It should be a great game.
What are you doing?
I'm practicing the bungee jump. One of my ideas to do before I graduate.
With 85 days left in the school year, Aaron isn't the only one asking what they want to do before they graduate. For the story, we go to Thomas Kenyon.
The countdown is on for seniors. There are only 84 days left until they take their final exams.
I took the time to ask what they'd like to do before their days are up. Many seniors have sports goals they would like to accomplish.
Before I graduate, I want to just start a new sport, like play tennis.
Before I graduate, I'd like to have just a great baseball year. Just hopefully the team will turn around, we'll have a good year this year, and play some varsity baseball.
And maybe go like to Twin Cities and like stay in sports.
Others want to enjoy the rest of their time with family and friends.
I want to build good memories with my friends in this high school before I leave.
Finally, some just hope they can decide what they want to do after they graduate.
I guess if there's one thing I want to do before I graduate is to figure out what I'm going to do after I graduate.
Some just want to tie up loose ends, and some just want to finish their final days here.
I want to get my license because I've been procrastinating this whole time. Like every year I'm just going to say, I'm going to get my license, I'm going to get my license. And all of a sudden it's senior year, I'm graduating early, and I don't have my license, and that's a joke.
I would like to go to school all 10 days that's left.
Fun stuff, but I hope Aaron is alright. Now, as we do every week, we go to Josh with an interview with another school board candidate, Mary Jo Rozmenoski.
Let's start with a little background. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Mary Jo Rozmenoski. I've been on the school board for the past 4 years, and I've been living in Blackbird Falls for 36 years. Been a Jackson County resident all my life, growing up in northern Jackson County, a graduate of Osceola Fairchild High School. And how I came to run on the school board was a matter of just some professional training that I had an opportunity to attend the Leadership Academy in Avon, Colorado in 2006. And I had the opportunity as chosen as an early childhood educator in the nation to take my life experiences. You had to be over 50 to be accepted into it, so they really helped me delve into my life experiences and how I was going to carry that forth and make this world better. And one of my goals was to take my experience in education and raising children to a different level to share with others. And one of those activities was to talk about my life experiences in raising my son Dustin, who was killed and was an organ donor. And I pursued to speak about that, and I did speak at the high school as a project for one of the students here. And from that day, I was told, you should run for school board, because I had a good look and experience about the different types of education that we provided. Both my kids went through school all 13 years here in Blackbird Falls, and so that was an experience that I value. I was a very involved parent, and both of my children had different learning levels, and one was challenged with dyslexia, so I got to see how our education system was so important to people with all abilities. And then I was appointed a school board position in an absence, and then ran the following year and received an appointment again.
All right. So what makes you qualified to serve on the board?
I'm seeking the re-election because I just feel confident that I have the professional and personal skills and the knowledge necessary. For 4 years, I have a lot to learn yet. I'm learning all the time. I participate in the special trainings that the Wisconsin Association for School Boards provides, and at a local level, regional level, and state level. For the past 4 years, I've been the representative for Blackbird Falls on the assembly voting for the convention, and I've learned so much about school law, school budgets, learned a lot from networking with other school district people, and I just feel that I'm very open-minded and creative, and I feel confident I'm an effective board member.
So what's your philosophy of education? What is the school's purpose?
I I just feel that the school provides, you know, basic education for one. One of my philosophies that I always keep in mind is a quote by Mark Twain: "Don't let school get in the way of your education." And I think the school provides much more than the classroom reading and writing, traditional learning. The life experiences that you have in school are just as important, and I think it's very, very important for a school to address that, the whole social part of children's lives, of involve the families, the community in their education. So don't let school get in the way of your education, that we have to take all those components in consideration.
How would you plan to deal with any budget shortfalls?
The budget shortfalls, as we always are dealing with, I mean, they've been constant since I've been on the board. And we have to look at things objectively and prioritize in a responsible way. It's always been a concern when we deal with budgets, and it's all individual depending on the needs. I've struggled with decisions on that a lot and have to weigh out the priorities, and fortunately we have a wonderful advice on our individual school budgets, and safety is always on top for me. I'm really bothered when safety things are cut. I know when we've had so many cuts in the past and we've not replaced our school buses as we've scheduled. That has always been a concern to me, and I'm glad we're back on track being able to replace school buses so we have a safe always.
Another great interview. That's all for this week, but remember, the rest of the interview can be seen after the show. For Channel 97 News, I'm Mike FIRKINS.
And I'm Martin ROUNDSTONE. Stay cool, Black River Falls.
So man found it. Squirrel!
Aw, man!
Now, there are families who feel disenfranchised from our schools. What would you do as a board member to help strengthen these ties between the district and the families?
As a board member, I think we can listen to the concerns, and I think constantly listening and being informed on what the issues are and addressing those. Sometimes on an individual basis, and sometimes it takes a group of people to make changes.
Now, what would you do to promote our school district to attract families through school choice?
The opportunity that families have to make a choice, I think is great. I think it's very important for families to make individual choices according to their needs. And promoting our school through the marketing that we have in place, and I think we can always do a better job of just letting them know how our school is different and how it excels and the kind of involvement we have. I understand families do have to make their choice individually and respect their choices in that way, but there's always much more information that we can give them to actually come and see our schools, be a part of it, and be involved.
If you had to choose 2 or 3 priorities that the district should focus on, what would they be?
Everything that we do, we have to keep the education and welfare of our students as a primary concern. And the accountability of that the board has the responsibility of running the budget is an issue. And I think for every homeowner to know that the school is not an expense to them, it's actually an investment in our community. it increases home values when we have good schools in our community. It attracts people to come here. And I think that is something that is not understood a lot, that it actually an investment in their home, not an expense. And so when our tax monies are spent responsibly, and for people to know that, and again, in every decision, not any particular, always to keep the students and the welfare and the education as a priority.
Now, how do you plan to work with staff as you create a teacher handbook?
The teacher handbook, I think, absolutely needs to be a collaborative effort, and I've been involved in that at some point too. Change is always difficult, and I've always had the philosophy that change is an opportunity, and not to look at the changes as problems, but an opportunity to improve. And I have been involved in that process with the teachers, administration, and absolutely a collaborative effort. Everybody's input is important, and our school is not the same as every other school. There is a handbook that is released for school boards to adopt if they wish, but that's not the way to go, because our community is different from everyone else in Wisconsin, and we have to individualize that according to what our staff and our teachers need.
Now, the issue of merit pay, is that a plausible idea?
It's something that's talked about statewide a lot, and yes, I do think it's an idea that we can implement, and we deserve that flexibility to give staff who are exceptional, have gone above and beyond, and made a difference in our school in the positive way, to reward them in some way. We've not been able to do that, but for an example of not merit paid just for the teachers, but merit paid for other staff too. An example, a mechanic saves us many thousands of dollars in the bus garage. Important stuff for us to reward.
How would you try to plan on implementing such a program, merit pay-wise?
Well, that would have to be a collaborative effort as well, and as you know, every decision we make comes with lots of research and background and input, and that would have to be all taken in consideration from all sides, and gone through the policy committee and the appropriate channels to make that decision. So just weighing out the benefits and the risks that we have with that, and how to be fair. I mean, all those would be taken in consideration, but going through the proper channels with the policy.
Great. So what do you think are the current positives and negatives that you see in our school district?
The positive, I think, is our dedicated staff. That's the biggest positive that we have. When we have, you can have the fanciest of buildings and the best facilities and everything else, but if you don't have the dedicated, knowledgeable staff behind that, it won't go anyplace. And I have had experience with evaluating that in child care centers too. That's what I do professionally, is do environmental rating scales, and I can see the interactions make the difference. It's not just the physical environment you're in. So absolutely, the staff and the students working together.
Right. Last question, why should we vote for you?
Well, I'm seeking the election because I feel I'm very confident and knowledgeable. I become informed on every subject that the board faces, and I think we're just challenged with balancing the budget and at the same time continuing to provide the excellent education that we have. And I'm prepared to continue to meet that challenge. I participate in formal and informal education experiences provided to me to make me a better board member, and my personal and professional experiences have provided me with that. I absolutely believe there's always more than one right answer. And I come to the board with that feeling of being open. I have the ability to change my mind. I'm very open to hear everybody's perspective and to make an informed decision in that way. And I look forward to another 3 years doing this. As board clerk, I have been a leader with the board, and I absolutely felt this has been a very important part of my life and part of my learning experiences. Again, don't let school get in the way of your education. I take in every experience I have in life and put it to a positive.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.